Welcome back to the Social Media Sobriety Podcast, going live today. Very excited to bring you this one. This episode is all about why I deleted social media in the first place, what benefits I saw, and how you yourself can make social media a much safer place for you. So I want to jump this all the way back to my senior year of high school. I am now currently 22. I've graduated from the University of Kansas, but about 4.5 to 5 years ago, I made the decision to get off of social media altogether. I would say it started out as a more gradual thing. I had Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok were like my big three, and never really had Twitter, never really did Facebook, but those three were the ones I had. And when I was posting my graduation pictures, I pretty much had this need, per se, of getting all the likes I can, getting the comments, getting the engagement. And it's not like I created content or anything. I just really, really wanted to, I guess, be popular, for lack of a better term. And I was refreshing the page. I posted my picture, and I was refreshing the page constantly, nonstop, looking at how many likes I got, who was commenting, blah, blah, blah. And I got this anxiety from it, from posting a damn picture. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But that's really how it started. And that feeling of anxiety I knew wasn't right. And that turned out to be the last Instagram picture I posted. So going back to that, I posted, I believe, in like June. And social media on Instagram was gone in August. For the other apps, TikTok, believe it or not, I actually had an account with near 20,000 followers on TikTok. It's somewhere out there. I started posting that in 2020, right before COVID, maybe like 3 months before COVID. And I had it up until like 2021. I believe I deleted that before Instagram. And I was just making dumb videos, dumb content. I was doom scrolling. And really, when I started on this journey to sobriety, TikTok was the real trigger. I think Instagram and deleting that after the post was more of a mental feeling that I wanted to get off of that one, but TikTok is where it all started. So I was posting a lot of content. I was going on trips and everything. I pretty much just made videos that I thought were funny, and people, I guess, thought they were funny because I got followers from it. But one day, and this was during COVID, granted, so it wasn't as bad as it would be now when things are back to normal, but I basically deleted TikTok because I sat in bed for about 3 hours just scrolling on nothing. It was just dumb brain rot content, and I never really got out of bed. And once I made that decision, I was like, yeah, I can't believe I just sat there and did nothing. Let me get off this damn app. So that's really how all that kind of trickled in. Snapchat was the interesting one, per se, because it's not like a lot of your other social media apps. I mean, if you're a constant user, you know that. So Snapchat was something where I was talking to a lot of people. I probably had 60 streaks, and I had multiple streaks over 1,000 days. Like, I was pretty active on it. I think my Snap score, and for anyone who knows me, would be surprised when I tell you it's over 650,000. And it's not because I was snapping a bunch of girls and trying, do stuff, but I genuinely just had a lot of streaks, and I thought they were entertaining. And then I really realized that sending a picture of my face every day without any context was dumb. And I also felt the pressure of forcing a conversation that didn't need to be had. So after TikTok, Instagram, and Snap, I decided to first limit my use to like 30 minutes a day. And then I eventually started getting down to like 15 minutes. And then by the time, my junior college days rolled around, I was off of it pretty much my choice. Not like there was a timer I was hitting. I just didn't really feel the need to get off of it. And before I started my freshman year of college, I was off social media. And I was 100% off social media until about a year ago and 3 months. And the only reason I got back on was for work. It was for my own productive things. I was the announcer for KU baseball last year, so I wanted a place to post some of my calls. And it pretty much turned my Instagram into an extension of my LinkedIn. I also downloaded. I had Twitter for the first time, and Twitter, which if you were paying attention to what this video was supposed to be, I just had to guess canceled the Hawktini files. Twitter was going to be a pretty dominant post on that. I'm hoping to get that one up next week, but it's pretty much all about how this one girl at a Kansas bar was caught with another guy in a public place. It was in a bathroom, and the door was wide open. So that's kind of the debate was, should that have gone viral? Who's at fault? Why is someone getting blamed? But going back to what I was talking about, Twitter was very good for immediate news. If I was watching KU play Oklahoma State and I'm live on air, but Houston is playing, I don't know, they were playing Iowa per se, I wanted to be able to find the quickest information I could to see, okay, now I can relay this live on air. Additionally, for KU, let's say Brady Ballinger's up and he hits a absolute monster of a home run, I'm refreshing Twitter while I'm recording on the radio to see how far that home run went. So it was a very valuable tool, and that's the only reason why I'm back on now. And then, of course, with this podcast, I am on it to promote healthy social media use. A little bit of history, too, on this podcast. I started out with a friend, Charles Lockman, and we produced 35 episodes. You could find them on Spotify, not on YouTube, but you could find how we talked about what was like living without social media in college. We both didn't have it. I was off of the app longer than he was, but now he is still completely 100% off social media. And it led to some very interesting discussions, but it was a pretty much approach of, you guys should delete social media. Here's why. And now this podcast is a little different. It's more about how can we promote healthy social media use. And I will tell you, I think deleting social media for the 4 years I was completely off of it was the best decision of my life. I will stand by that. I will get into those reasons in a little bit, but it really changed who I was as a person. I was a lot more confident, willing to do things, and it was massive for who I was. And now that I'm back on it, I'm finding ways to feel like I am still off of social media unless I'm working. So let's talk about the first initial benefits from it. Number one, the one you will see almost instantly is your screen time. I was probably a 4 to 5 hour screen time user, which I don't think is even that bad in today's day and age, which is crazy to think about. But I was about a 4 to 5 hour guy, with TikTok and Instagram leading the way of what I was on the most. And after I got used to not having them, my screen time was anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half every day. And now it is, even with this podcast, about 2 just on my phone. The computer, I think it's hard because, if I'm doing video editing, I can't really not be on my phone. But your screen time will drop dramatically. And it is a great feeling. If you ever feel stressed, anxiety, or just burnt out from everything, this alone is going to help, because you will have virtually so much extra time without even thinking about it. You're going to go from thing to thing, but realize that you sitting in the car, going on your phone for an extra 20 minutes before you get inside, or going to bed and going on your phone, or waking up, all that stuff, that's going to help. That is going to help tremendously. And it makes you feel so much more efficient. It powers you through the day. So all that is just one of the quickest benefits you will have of social media. The other thing is, you're going to realize how addicted you were. And I see this effect dramatically. And this could be not even with social media, but with any app on your phone. If you have an app that you constantly open, you're going to do it without thinking about it. So this could be something as like, I don't know, throw out an example, Angry Birds, right? Let's say you are a massive Angry Birds fan. I think it's off the App Store now, which sucks. But if you're doing anything, waiting in line for your coffee, if you're going to the bathroom, if you're kind of just sitting there, half doing homework, without thinking about it, you pull out your phone to open this app. You don't even know exactly where it is. It's just it's like in your brain, where you know what moves to do to get to your app. Could be with Instagram and Snapchat as well. You will go to these apps subconsciously. And when I deleted those apps, I would still go to those apps subconsciously, but then I'd click on something and be on Safari because that's where the app used to be. And that's how my screen time dropped, and how I really felt like I had more time is because the minute I would go to these apps and hit Safari, I'd think, oh, well, let me just get off this altogether. And it was great. I picked up so many hobbies. I was so much less stressed in work. And for my own just productivity, social media deletion was huge. I have become a lot more liberal on the idea of social media. I now think there is plenty of benefits to it, but I still have one belief on social media that is pretty unwavering, and that is productivity. I don't really see a downside when you delete social media, especially now with AI. Like, you could find answers to things and it could help guide you and all that stuff. Definitely without social media. That is something that I think is almost non-negotiable. If you do decide to delete it, you will be more productive. No question about it. The other mental side of things, and I talked about it when I was posting things, was the anxiety part. And the whole concept of FOMO comes out. FOMO means fear of missing out. And when you are off of social media, or I guess the thought process is, if you're going to delete social media, you're going to feel more FOMO. You're going to think, oh, I'm not going to be invited to things. People are going out. I'm not going to know about it. And pretty much the opposite is true. I really believe that I have way less FOMO now than I did when I had social media. And I'll even give you an example of something that happened yesterday. I go on Instagram to post, and subconsciously, and again, re-downloading stuff, it really doesn't leave you a lot of these bad things about social media. I went on Instagram and I saw a story that looked interesting from an account. I follow very little accounts, but I was like, okay, let me check it out. So I clicked on that, and then I went to the next one and saw a couple of my friends out somewhere. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, that sucks. Like, why wasn't I invited there? When you're off of social media completely, that's gone. That feeling of being there is completely gone. It is one of the nicest things. It's almost like if you don't know, then you're not going to feel like you're left out. And that's really how I felt on social media the whole time. Is I was going to things that I was supposed to go to. If friends wanted me to be with them, I would be with them. When you're on social media, you're thinking about all of the things you're missing out on. And reality is, those things are sensationalized on social media. When you're seeing people partying, living their best life, it's not true. It's just what they post. I mean, that's why we have filters and things like that, is you're trying to make yourself look good online. And when you're actually there, things aren't quite as good. You don't see the hardships and stuff like that. So FOMO was pretty much gone. The only time you would hear about it is like word of mouth. If somebody had a party and weren't invited, okay, like that sucks. But not constantly seeing what other people are doing is awesome. And the other part of deleting social media, many parts, but I guess the other part is the confidence you have. The confidence in your relationships to talk to random people is sky high. You see the world how it is. You're seeing all these people who are attached to their phones in public spaces. And when you're not on that, it allows you to think more and have great ideas. And that gives you confidence to go up to any person. I truly, truly believe that. I think your social skills go up dramatically. You also learn how to enjoy your time with people without that need to be scrolling. And I think it is unbelievably healthy for your mental health. Additionally, multitasking. That is something that we do constantly. I want you to think about this. Think about the last time you were with a friend or family member and you were on your phone while talking to them, not making eye contact or anything like that. That's normal nowadays. Now, flash back to, when I was like 5 years old and smartphones were just coming out. That didn't happen. You had real, genuine conversations. And that's something that we need to have more of today. We don't have that. There's so many times where somebody's got to be holding that supercomputer in their pocket and scrolling through something while having a conversation. And on one hand, yeah, I'm sure you can get great at multitasking, which me personally, I'm not good at. However, on the tasks that I do need to get done, I am so much better off like that. I'm so much more locked into what I need to do. And that part is huge. Additionally, time with my friends. Yes, I don't have the videos of things going on, but I also have memories that I have such a better recollection of than probably a lot of my friends if I'm not on my phone. And that part is huge. Just going back, thinking about stuff. And while your friends are going to take the videos, you yourself are just going to enjoy your time. And then when your friend pulls up a video of you at a party, they'll remember the video, but when that video that you see, you'll remember your memories. And it's a pretty cool feeling. So yeah, there were definitely a ton of things that I felt when I had social media. It was huge. It was awesome. I think my mood changed, my confidence changed. I felt like a much better person. And also that goes into just kind of where I was in my life. When I had social media, I spent my time playing baseball and then trying to make content. 4 years later, I spend my free time golfing or working on a podcast, for example, doing things I think that are a lot more efficient because I feel like I have more time in the day. And in turn, I'm happier. I'm doing things I want to do, not necessarily scrolling and posting really random content that I wanted to go viral. That was brain rot. The reason why I'm back on social media for this podcast is to branch out to the market of the audience that I want to hear this. People that may have an addiction to social media or thinking about deleting it. It is something where it will benefit you, but you're not going to see it if all I do is post on Spotify. So that is really the main reason why this podcast is on those social media platforms, is to reach that audience. Other parts too is just relationships. I think talking to somebody that you're interested in is a lot easier. You don't really think about all the other things. Also the other thought, and I talked about this in my relationship episode, where when I re-upload this, you'll see a link to it. You're not seeing people that you're interested in just for looks. I think that's one of the biggest issues. Social media creates these unrealistic standards of beauty. And I think that has two issues. One is you're going to really have high standards on looks and less on personality. And two, standards of yourself are going to be rough. A future episode that I'm planning on doing is going to talk about how seeing all these people who are super fit online is going to kind of alter your perception of what the average person should look like. And yeah, I go to the gym almost every day, and there are people on social media who I will never look like, no matter how hard I try. But when you're not seeing that constantly, that's going to help your self-confidence. So we'd love to get both those in. But yes, just talking to people, you realize that when you're not comparing yourself to others, you realize your life actually can be pretty cool, and that gives you the confidence to talk to people. And then when you're in a relationship, things are a lot simpler because you're not comparing your relationship or your significant other to other people you see come across on social media. Those were really, really huge. Now, there is a big caveat here to this whole podcast. What do I miss most about social media? And how I'm able to use that now because I'm kind of on it, right? If you go back to the logo of this podcast from the old one, it's called Social Media Sobriety, Mostly Sober Kinda. And I went back on social media for things, and there's some things I don't like about it, but there are also some things that are huge. Far and away, the number one is news. And personally, I'm not a guy that goes out of my way to consume news and current events. However, I have no clue what's going on in the world unless there's something that's important to me that somebody else talks about or I see notifications from different news outlets, I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't have the daily dose of, I guess, exposure to things going on. And when it's not that big of an interest to you to go out of your way, you are going to see that. You are going to see that if you're off social media, it is very hard to stay in touch of what's going on in the world today. And I think that's a good and bad thing. Like there's so much bad news that's spread on social media that I'm not seeing. However, you could argue it makes me more insensitive because, again, I don't know what's going on. I don't see the videos and stuff like that. That was probably one of the biggest things that I lost, was that touchness. The other part, and I think this is a good and bad thing. We'll start with the positive. When you delete social media, you'll find out who your real friends are. You will see the people that actually make an effort to go out of their way to text you because you're not on social media. And on the flip side, you're going to find people yourself that you want to go out of your way to text because those people matter to you. All the other people, the fake people, the acquaintances, those kind of shift away. That being said, your network of people also shrinks. And there's a lot of people that I've met over the last 4 years at Long Beach City College and the University of Kansas that I thought were cool, but I never was able to make that jump into a friendship because I didn't see what they were doing. I never had an excuse to go text someone, right? If you're on social media and you see somebody's going to Mallorca, for example, it's very easy to slide up and ask them how they're doing. It gives any excuse. But there's so many other people that I was friendly with that I really liked, but then I never had that visual of them online to where I can go reach out. So a lot of the people I did like, a lot of my old baseball teammates, for example, yeah, I probably haven't talked to them in years. Not because I don't like them, but it's just because I don't have that excuse to go out there. So yeah, that was definitely something I had. Another good and bad thing, depending on how you look at it, is the extra time you have, right? I think at the start, life without social media is boring. No doubt about it. You're just going to sit there sometimes and twiddle your thumbs thinking, what am I supposed to do? And I think at the start, it's tough. At the start, it's lonely. But as you go on, you realize that there's a whole world out there for you to do. You can, again, I mentioned earlier, but pick up a hobby or find things productive to do, like reading, or get ahead on your homework. It's huge. But it is weird at first. So yeah, that's really like the biggest things I miss. Now, driving this all home, one of the biggest questions that people ask me is, will I ever go back to using it normally? And no, it's not true. I don't ever want to have a personal social media presence. I don't mind the professional, but I'll be honest, if I got a dream job, and for me that would be coaching or announcing somewhere, I wouldn't want social media at all, especially coaching. Like announcing, you may need it to build up a portfolio, but if I'm coaching, I think the only way I would have social media if I'm coaching is if I decide to make a channel about coaching. But I wouldn't want to be on that app at all. The thought of going back to social media and scrolling and seeing how my friends are doing is weird. And when you're off of it, that's something you'll realize is there's a lot of things that social media gives you. I think most are bad. And you will be okay outweighing the cons and the pros, is my opinion. However, for you guys, the people listening to this who are potentially still on social media thinking about deleting it, yeah, there are still reasons to be on it. And I think what you should do is kind of take in what I'm saying here and figure out what works for you, because that's the most important thing is social media, much like any tool, is a tool. And if you use it the right way, it'll help you. But if you're scrolling, if you're wasting your time, it will not. And it's really a you decision. I will give you advice. That's the podcast all about. I will give you advice on how to use it. I'm interviewing people on how they use it and how they deal with it. But it comes down to you, the individual. And I believe you will find some very positive mental health things. There's a great episode on mental health that I will throw on the screen in post-editing. But at the same time, there's a lot of drawbacks, and it really comes down to you. So I guess to wrap it all up, what is the best way if you want to kind of wean off social media? I'd start with a couple things. One, a fantastic app called OneSec. So what OneSec is it takes out the subconscious. I've talked about it before on this channel, but if you are opening an app mindlessly, let's say you have OneSec on your Instagram, instead of immediately taking you to Instagram, it's going to give you like a 10-second thing where it says, take a deep breath, focus up. And what this does is if you're doing it subconsciously, the minute you open up Instagram, you're going to swipe right off of it and do something else. But if you meant to go on that app, you will sit through those 10 seconds and go on it. The other part is setting app timers, right? If you have 15 minutes of Instagram, you will slowly but surely start using those 15 minutes wisely. You're not going to waste time when you're doing your business in the bathroom, or if you're sitting in the car or waiting. Like you'll start to find the right time to go on social media. That's really it's all about intention and how you use it. Those are probably the two biggest ways to start. You can also take a break. Take a break one day and stay off social media, see how you feel. I personally feel a lot more grounded, and I feel a lot more present when I'm off social media. But it all starts just step by step. So, yeah, I think social media does more bad than good. My whole summary of it does more bad than good, but if you can filter out ways to get rid of the bad, you can use social media for good. So again, thank you to all the viewers for listening out there. We got a live podcast up, so I'd love to see how it kind of went. You know, if you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. Also on these streams, if this becomes a normal thing and we get more engagement, like I will happily answer any questions you have on the stream. Upcoming episodes, we're going to have a person who is starting a business and talk about their idea on social media. The Hawktini video going viral, like, is it warranted? Is it not? And we will also have more stuff on the future, maybe something about a fitness influencer and how that's changed the industry. But we got some good content lined up, so very, very excited. For all my loyal viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, all those beautiful things. And tune in next week for more social media sobriety.